It's Monday. Sorry, let's take that. So it's Monday, new trading day, new trading week. We'll see what I'm able to catch today and this week in general. Um, I'll check the Forex Factory right now. Forex Factory. So let's see what's up. So with Forex Factory, we got core retail sales 8:30 news that came already around 30 minutes ago, 40 minutes. Yeah, nothing else really today. Tomorrow, all right. So usually we got like no news Monday, and then we could have news on Tuesday. But this week's this week is different. We got news on Monday, not on Tuesday at all. And then FOMC coming. You know, Tuesday no news at all. FOMC coming in Wednesday could mean that Tuesday could be like a little bit bad price action. That could be case. But I think this is fairly good. Like economic calendar, we are probably able to catch some good trades this week. So that's the case pretty much that I'm thinking about. So let's go to the daily chart first because that's what I like to look at immediately first. So what I've measured here is this daily candle wick. So that's important wick because it's like a largest wick in this region. It's lining up with this fair value gap, and it's just generally nice to measure these quadrants of a large wick that could impact on price. You could also measure like this wick's price here, but we are not quite there yet. So I don't really care anyway. Like this is not that important for me. Although the wick is large here, for example, in 4-hour candle, so this could be actually a very valid measuring point. Let me see the inputs. Yeah, we're correct with that. So that could be a way of measuring wicks and price ranges. But generally speaking, what I wanted to see from this Monday is either pre-market or during the New York AM session push above the buy side liquidity. Now we have seen that, which is good, or that was a good target for me. So there could have been a case that I would have wanted to see market stall a little bit longer down here so that I could have then gotten the longs during the AM session, but that's not the case anymore. We have taken the important buy side pull during the 8:30 news event. Yeah, you can see that pushing there. So yeah. Way too fast movement anyways. Like if I tried to trade after 8:30 anyway, I wouldn't have got into this trade probably in any way. So let's see. So the high here is, we trade past it very slightly, and this shallow sweep usually, okay, shallow sweep could be enough, and we could put on like a move lower, but we are still putting on bullish price leg, and this kind of shallow sweep over this large liquidity pool to the left usually means that we are going to see another drive higher above this high. I would like to see that at least. I'll change the color to white. So here I would still want to see like another push higher, but we are putting things like this 8:30 news candle data lows with equal lows here. So that's an important liquidity pool that I have to be looking at. Oh, my OBS came there. But yeah, I have to be looking at that liquidity pool, and definitely there is high likelihood of chance that we are going to push below that exact price point. I went accidentally to my US 500, but yeah, that's equal those important price points. All right, so now ideally what I want to see is maybe like this break of structure triggering a move higher. So which would be something like this if you wanted to take a trade. Obviously not my style. Like maybe I could make a case for a long here if we put on like an SMT with that low. We can see that, and it is an SMT. So that's actually interesting. And for some reason I maybe even like ES more because bullish SMT we could have a little bit more movement higher with ES because we failed to sweep the low. Hence we are a little bit more bullish than NQ. But yeah, not really my style trading that. We would need to have fair value gap here and proper time in place. But alright, so we don't actually need to see liquidity sweep above that high, but that's just what I would prefer. But real quick, I'll get back to higher time frames. So we are massively bearish right now. We have a fair value gap here, and this is important fair value gap because this is large daily fair value gap. We are currently trading at the upper half of it. It doesn't really mean much for me as of now, but I would just want to see rejection out of that fair value gap lower. Obviously, I like to also look at new day opening gaps, new week opening gaps. Let's go like for our chart. So where are all those gaps? New week opening gap, this blue area. I would want us to get back to that because price likes to get back to these gaps, especially like new week opening gaps work like a magnet for price, especially in certain kind of situation and scenarios. Price likes to come back to these areas, and we put on like a equal lows above the CE of the new week opening gap. So I'm thinking of shorts in this instance. Now, rejection of here, it could result of as a short opportunity. I hope that this wouldn't play out because I'm not going to trade before market opens, and if we have this move happen before market open, that would be a little bit frustrating for me because I see this as an opportunity, and I want to see this opportunity play out during the market hours when I can actually like execute the setup. But right now, there's really no chance for me to get in anything like this, and we don't actually need to push above these highs. That would just be something like what the ideal price action would do for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting used to this new chart style, color, theme, save as. So I'm kind of changing the colors of things, but this is a little bit more eye friendly for me, you know what I'm saying? So there's still SMT, so seeing if that SMT is actually going to hold or not, but let's see, we swept this high with like a very minor price action, so that's why I'm kind of thinking that there could be more to come, but I don't really care. Alright. So the thing with NQ as well is that we had massive push lower, but clearly market is finding some type of resistance in this daily fair value gap. And like this portion of price is kind of slowing the price down, you know what I'm saying? So we dropped mainly for this sell side. Now that we've swept that, we're clearly putting on some type of movement higher, and so we're rejecting right now from here, so we don't actually have that much more range to drop lower before we are getting into these very congested areas. And that's not to say that market couldn't actually drop below these congested areas with pace. Like market can do whatever it wants, but I'm just kind of thinking that, okay, we had a lot of pace to the downside, but that's probably due to the fact that we got a lot of sell side in here. Like, we are actually trading right now inside massive weekly order block, and these are the main areas of the order block, measuring the high of that candle to the low of that candle, both with the bodies. And so these large areas, so I like to go with the quadrants, and let's just remove this for the clarity. So you can see how we are acting around the upper quadrant. We always come to that reject, and this is totally not not like random. This is algorithmic. Price rejects from that exact 0.25 level, and even when we trade below that, we kind of stall at around that. Look where these wicks kind of stop with these candles, and just here we get through that, but consolidate around that much more. So these are actually important areas to look at, measuring these quadrants of this like large weekly and daily Peter race, maybe even monthly Peter race. And in weekly, what I also noticed is this fair value gap. So you can see how we are exactly in that region right now. So this is actually a bullish fair value gap. We inverse it. We kind of reclaim it here, and now we're coming into that and respecting it. We put on like a weekly fair value gap here. So that's actually interesting. So that's bearish fair value gap. And there could be a chance that market wants to push to that weekly fair value gap. And this is where we come to the difficulty of trading, because we have been dropping heavily. It's new week. We're kind of reacting of an area where it's kind of like easy to see that market could want to push higher, but I don't actually know if it's going to do that. So, but certainly there is something telling me that maybe longs is actually a decent idea, but again, we are building a little bit too much sell side down here, and the fact that market just has been bearish, I can't really I can't really rationalize longs, especially with high risk. So I kind of have to get stick with these kind of ideas. For example, these equal lows with these kind of lower time frames, and kind of try to find the ideas in shorter, lower time frames. And maybe you have to take trades against the hard time frame buys or not. But I don't actually have like any like very like prevalent higher time frame idea that actually I would be very like convicted about. So the only really thing is that we have this fair value gap here, and we are possibly going to reject from it. I'm currently trading lower. We got this sell side here, so that's something that I'm fairly convicted about. But that's just the problem is now that I need to see price action delivering properly in proper time context. So we can't just drop below it now. There has to be some type of time distortion for me to then be able to actually execute the trade in correct time. And let's say something like this happened, I would take the trade short. Actually, the ideal kind of situation would be market kind of stalling right now, then maybe ES sweeping the high, NQ not sweeping the high, we putting it. Then market would put like an SMT like this, shift lower, and then we would have like an SMT with this high, and I would execute the short from here. That would be actually the absolute most ideal situation that I would want to see. But often when I try to kind of picture the picture perfect scenario or the textbook trade, obviously that's not going to happen most of the time. So you have to be able to execute without having the textbook set up. But I can't execute anything if we are just going to drop now, because the time is not correct. That's one of the most important things with ICT is that the time is correct. You have to trade during the correct time. And I've tried trading like the London session, and I know that you can trade London session with NQ, but it just doesn't work for me, certainly because I haven't traded that very much, and I don't have experience and with the London session. And sometimes you get a nice trade, and sometimes I get chopped up very badly because I don't have experience with that. And that has just like taught me that different times have different type of price action. And that's what I've learned from that. But right now 5 minutes to the market open, so let's see what we will have in 5 minutes. Or actually, something that I actually realized just now is very important. And it would be very naive to miss this type of thing. So actually, this is SMT, so ES was far behind, so this is heavily bearish. You can see the same high here. ES is nowhere near that, so this needs to be taken into account. And I'm looking for shorts certainly now. Now let's see how we can kind of get those shorts into reality, because that's a totally different task. So also I'm kind of contemplating whether or not try to look set up on ES, or I should maybe start looking at taking trades on ES in general, because I'm very used to taking trades on NQ, but I usually don't actually execute on ES. So maybe I should start doing that, because last week, for example, I got a couple of ideas that would have worked perfectly on ES, but I just didn't want to take them on NQ because it didn't look as good. So I'm possibly trying to execute something on ES. So for example, ES failed to sweep the high here. That could be more bearish for ES. But let's just see. Market is opening soon, and I just hope that we are not seeing like massive melt immediately at the market open, because that is like massive. If I'm trying to get into shorts and market just melts immediately at the market open, that is the killer of the day for me, because like I don't thrive in those days when we just go humongously into one direction, have small retracement, and never really look back. The scenario in which I would thrive is 930 putting like false move higher and then shifting and giving a nice sell. That would be absolutely amazing. So, and if something like that happens and I take a short and I lose, I would be very happy, and I would take the trade 100 times out of 100, because that's just how I trade. And you have to be comfortable taking the trades, even those ones that lose. But we are kind of pushing heavily to the downside right now, so I'm kind of starting to think that maybe there is a chance that the market open 930 just goes immediately through the low and doesn't really give setup to get into short if you want to target this as your main TP. So let's hope that we see a 930 pushing higher in 15 seconds. All right. So market opens now. We are trading above midnight 8:30 right now. So if we pushed higher now, we would be trading nicely above New York Open as well, and that would be very nice for shorts. But I've seen very often this happen when we are close to a certain liquidity pool that I want to see purged, and when market opens fairly close to that pool, we are just going to see immediate trade below that, and then market will do whatever it wants. But there are times when I see this happen, that in market open it just goes immediately to the liquidity pool. So still waiting. We are actually not seeing much of movement at the market open right now. I like this move higher, certainly. Market could easily just reject from this IFVG. So that could be a case. But I just don't see how to sell in this gap, like where to have my stop like that, going for 1-to-1. That's kind of naive. At least for my strategy, it doesn't really work. Like my understanding of trading doesn't really work like that. But all right. All right. One thing that I forgot to do is I like to mark manually the opening range gap. So that would come from Sunday, Friday 16 there. So opening range gaps higher, which is possible that market is going to then dump lower for that. But I like this move right now. This is a good move. We're about to print inverse. Sorry, first fair value gap here. So that's good fair value gap to see form like this. If you want to see shorts, this could be used very nicely as inverse to go short. And also my bias could be wrong here. We could just push heavily higher with massive candles. If that's the case, then I'm just not going to take a trade at all. And there is really no harm with being incorrect with your bias if market doesn't really give a chance to get into trade at all, So as a traders, we have to kind of put our egos to the side. Like if you are incorrect with the bias, that's totally fine. Just try to minimize your losses and manage your risk. But as I said already, I would want to see maybe like a SMT here or a total sweep of the high here and then shift lower. So market is actually doing right now what I would want to see. So all right, so ES is, excuse me, far beyond this high. So I'm not saying that this is SMT yet, but this could be a possible SMT. If NQ doesn't want to go for the high here, this is SMT then. First fair value gap is very important here to note. This one not so much. It's a larger gap here, but if we don't build much structure, this has to inverse the first fair value gap here. Now, if we build structure like a low, new high, and break the low, then this doesn't have to get inversed. I would still get into shorts. So that kind of has to do all with the how much structure market is actually building, But I would see these as equal lows and this as a fake move higher. And if this is not a fake move higher and we actually just push far beyond the buy side liquidity here, that's totally fine. I don't really care. Then in that case, this is just a day where I'm not going to take a trade. Let's just put that on correct place. So I reckon this is not going to be an SMT. Yeah, no. So that's not SMT in any way. We're pushing actually quite far. So this is interesting. As told, weekly time frame looks like this, and this means for me that we are in an area, we are in weekly order block where we could easily reject and go higher. We got weekly fair value gap here, and these are things that could cause price to move higher, and we could actually have like a large trending day higher. That could certainly happen. Now, because we have been so bearish recently and we still got some sell side to go for, that's the reason why, mainly why I don't want to be part of longs in this certain scenario. But I do certainly see, I do certainly see like a world where price is willing to push to this fair value gap and, slap all the bears like this. So, so we'll see kind of what happens. This week could be important now that we are getting into the region of it. And as I showed you this 4 hour week, I would like to mark that out. So, so specifically when we get to that 0.75 area, let's see if we could have some type of rejection out of that. So that's what I'm monitoring now. And even, all right, so we are very, like, we have traded past the wick low, so that's not really important for me as of now. But maybe like this gap could be better measurement as of now, because you can see how the gap 0.75 level is respected currently. So this is actually important and interesting. So I'm certainly interested in what we are doing in this area, because this is the daily fair value gap. Sorry, 4 hour fair value gap measured into the quadrants. And we could even refine the area as 1 hour fair value gap here. But it's getting a little bit smaller as an area, and I just like the 4 hour as a reference point here. So I'm gonna go with that and see how price acts in here. But certainly I would want to see price starting to reject lower and slowing down, because if we are just putting on more massive candles, I think it's going to be either continuing the trend, or then we are just going to have some high resistance move lower like this, which I wouldn't love to see. But the high trending days, yeah, opening AM session, I don't really like trading these days when market is very one-sided, I would say. But when market is one-sided, let's say today we had like this, when we get to like 11, 12, then there is high likelihood of market giving some type of retracement, and I like to be part of these kind of trades where you try to catch like a short back into the range, because market is not going to go like higher the whole day. It's going to give some type of retracement, and these lows would be liquidated at some point usually. So during lunch hour, maybe after 12 p.m., you're actually going to then catch decent shorts if we, let's say, push higher the whole AM session. So that's the reason, and that's probably the only kind of situation where I like to trade lunch hour. But right now we're way too one-sided. Don't really like this price action. So there is certainly one thing that is putting me off of like the shorts, is because, well, first of all, you don't really want to see like if you want to see a fake move higher, it shouldn't really be this big. And on top of that, if I want to see just like a liquidity sweep above this high, market shouldn't really print like a fair value gap on this region. So so this shouldn't really happen like this. So what I do see often is when market puts on a fair value gap on top of certain high, the fair value gap is going to be respected, and we're going to see a continuation higher like this. So that's making me think that we're probably going to see a continuation, and hence I need to see a lot more to see shorts. But But obviously we do have time. Market is at not even at 950 macro yet. So that's the case. Okay, we're starting to see the first like signatures of sell side delivery. We're about to inverse this gap that was printed on top of the high here. So technically you could get into shorts and consider this as a high and this as break of structure. I'm just contemplating whether or not this is convincing me. Because this is not that clear of a low, and the price has been a little bit too straightforward to the upside, and now we're seeing absolutely like massive dump. Like it's not giving me chance to short, I guess. But if you see like a retracement now to this fair value gap, I'm probably going to take it still. So let's see. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to just melt way too fast, and this is weird delivery for me. Like whenever market moves like this, usually there are not very many people that can actually take like a good entry in these kind of scenarios. Maybe if you like just execute based on inversion, but even here like this didn't inverse actually here. So the inversion happened here, and that's bad fill. That's around 1-to-1. And the question still is, am I willing to enter? So yeah, I took a lower risk shorts here, meaning that because we inversed this and even this, I consider this as like a decent probability trade. But I like to risk 1%. I'm only risking 0.5% because I'm having a little bit of doubts, and I've already kind of expressed the doubts for you in this video. So there's certain reasons why I don't feel so comfortable with this. And price action has been a little bit weird. Like this is a little bit too straightforward. This is a little bit too straightforward. Who is saying that price couldn't actually just go higher here? Like that's technically, and that's possibly something that could happen, and that's why I'm certainly not willing to take very high risk sell here. So I'm not risking much. So that's the case. And as of now, it's not really looking good either. So I'm getting certain vibes of like a low probability annoying day, So yeah. It's not very good to see this type of large push back into the fair value gap. We inverse even that one. This is still holding. It's very small. Technically could work here, but I really don't see this as a good trade anymore. Now I'm still gonna be part of this because it's not disrespecting my idea here, but certainly the probabilities are less and less every time we see new candle pushing higher. And the candles are willing to push higher fairly quickly, but then only sell side candle we are seeing is this type of small piece of shit. So yeah, man. What can I say? So my stop loss is probably going to get triggered here, which is fine. I'm probably willing to take another 0.5% risk trade here, so I'm willing to lose around 1% a day. So this fair value gap even is not holding anymore. 3-minute gap in this region. That's not breaker. That's a 3-minute fair value gap. So this is definitely giving me vibes that price action is like heavily frustrating today. And you know, I have lost some, like way too much gains, you know, during these type of days. You know, there is good, like nice trending days. You make some nice money, and then you get frustrating day, and you just get wrecked because you know price action is just like super annoying and nasty. And I should probably close here because we put on like a large amount of fair value gaps in here, which price is not really willing to push through. All right, so I closed the trade. So usually the reason why I close the trade is usually I want to see price like give me nice nice LR low resistance liquidity run, you know, and I would allow this type of retracement to happen, but this candle should start like a proper move lower. And when we stall one more candle down in here and we have 3 fair value gaps stacked in here, I don't like this at all. Like this is a pattern that I've seen multiple times go like this. And if it's going to my favor, I don't want to be part of the trade. I will find another like chance to enter into the short if it gives a short. But this is not the way, you know. So I took like a 0.2% loss here, which I closed the position around there. So it's not nearly as large amount. Like even initially I risked smaller amount than usually, and I got over half of it cut here. So like 0.2% loss, it doesn't really mean much to me. Now I'm just waiting if price is willing to give me better action. Now, in this kind of situations, is very frustrating if price kind of ends up dumping, because you know I was part of the trade, but I just can't be a part of the trade when it doesn't look very nice in this context. So yeah, it's probably starting to melt now, and I will feel frustrated, but that's how trading goes. Also monitoring, yes, a little bit. So yes, interesting SMT here. So that's actually SMT with, excuse me. But if this was really like very nice selling day, market would not stall around like this. It would actually put on like a nice candles lower. And there are those days, but this is clearly just not the day, you know. So this is the 3 minute fair value gap here. Yeah. So ugly price action all around. This one I do like SMT. Has yes. Oh, ES has gone. Wait. That's not the high. So yeah, we have passed this high still with the minor wick here. Actually, 2 times there. So yeah, I would be bearish with ES as well. Although, you know, nothing is saying that price couldn't actually just drive heavily higher. So that could easily just happen out of nowhere, almost. But you know, not interested. You know, the main reason why you would and I want to close the trade in this area is because even if market came to my and started trading to my direction, if it didn't and gave me the full stop, I would be frustrated that I didn't close the trade when I had the chance to in this. So I can't hold myself to like a double standard like that, like where I feel frustrated when it goes against me, but I also feel frustrated when I decide to hold the trade. So that's just the case. Alright, so I actually decided to enter back to the trade now that we reject, because we put on like a little bit more convincing break of structure below this low, and you know, flip all these gaps. We have now larger fair value gap here, and I'm expecting, if this is going to be the right bias, I would expect a little bit larger displacement in this exact region. So, you know, I would hope that I had held the trade initially, but certainly, you know, it just wasn't something that I was capable of doing at that time. So, but now I'm back. Let's hope that we are actually continuing this type of displacement lower. So, targeting these equal lows. Just hoping to see. If you could actually like draw back to the first fair value gap, that's probably going to happen. First fair value gap, after that gets hit, especially if we build like proper structure, I'm probably moving my stops at around that high or break even. Now we come back to this area. There is a chance that I could actually add to the position. Okay, I added very small amounts at around here, so average fill is around here, and my stop is around here. All right. Risking around 0.6% with this. Already lost around 0.2, so my overall risk for the day is coming just short of 1%. But now I don't want to see any bar coding here. I want to see now price starting to push lower, put like bearish fair value gaps, because like, you know, I don't want to see this type of shit here, which we are actually doing right now, which I hate. But you know, we could easily just liquidate this high once more and still move lower, so there's really no like problem here in this internal buy side liquidity. So that could just be liquidated and price still move lower. I would just, well, maybe I shouldn't expect anything, because clearly today is not very low resistance liquidity run day. You know, price is not willing to run very fastly. We are putting like large range candles, but it's moving a lot of back and forth. And that could be also mean that I should maybe extend my stop here, which I'm gonna do, because you know, I've explained this in multiple of my videos, but I like to, if I'm expecting like high resistance liquidity run days and choppy days, you know, price could put very large displacement, like a very large retracement before actually moving the direction. And if I'm trying to have my stop a little bit too tight, that could go against my trading, because you know, giving a little bit more breathing room could save me, because I've seen the times when price comes very close to a certain swing high and then sweeps lower. And you know, there could be a chance that price goes very far up, and maybe this is going to get saved, but I'm not willing to extend my stop above here. That's certainly not going to happen. So, and I don't like how price is stalling right now in here. This is very annoying. Looking at this right now, or sorry, we are clearly rejecting this fair value gap right now. So that's busy. So looking at other fair value gaps as well, like this one. Yeah, I don't like the price action here. You know, but I'm still going to hold. The reason why I didn't hold in here, because I didn't see as much evidence, but now that we have dropped again, I'm seeing more evidence for shorts, and that's why I'm not closing the trade. Similarly as in here, although it's not looking very nice, but you know, sometimes price is just very choppy and you have to be able to hold. And sometimes that's going to mean that you're just going to lose because of like certain stubbornness, you know. But I certainly don't like this. Alright, that's a trading day on shitty price action. Can't say much about it.